only have an impairment, but the disability is being caused because of the barriers which either the people are creating because of their attitude or these institutions are creating. And I went to other places. I went to DR or any other government good colleges of Delhi, government colleges. So there they do not have lifts.
Yeah, it's a problem.
They do not have lifts. Yes. So even in the interviews, they say that the problem is mine, that I need such and such thing.
Juha, Jai, a Satrangi Salam to all my viewers and listeners. Welcome to the very first episode of Unmuted. Access Denied, Access Demanded. I'm your host, Trilochan, aka Smile, and today's episode is truly special. We are joined by someone whose work I deeply admire, not just for its academic depth, but for the way it speaks to the lived experience of disability, care, and ethics. Please welcome Dr. Nonita Gangwani, Assistant Professor, Department of Physiology at the University College of Medical Science, Delhi. Thank you so much, Dr. Nonita, for joining us today and saying yes to the podcast on such a short notice. I'm really grateful. So, let's start with your early years. Can you share a little about your childhood, family background, and what your adolescence was like growing up as a person with a disability?
So hi, Smile, and hi to all the listeners. Thank you so much for inviting me. And as for this question, so actually I developed my problem in the later years. Like initially, I was totally fit and fine, and it was only in about my early 20s that I developed this problem. So it's an autoimmune disorder due to which I had this problem of so gradually progressing weakness in my muscles. So if you say the early childhood and adolescence, so that was all like a normal so-called able-bodied person only because it was only during my early days where I developed this.
It happens here with me as well because in my early childhood, till my 17, I was a so-called like able-bodied guy. But after the accident, I got my disability. And it took me a while to accept myself, to navigate through this journey. And there are some instances and moments, but I still hide my hands because people do look at my hands and it makes me feel very uncomfortable. So, how do you navigate yourself and how did you accept yourself? Obviously, it must have a drastic change for you.
So yes, it was a very life-changing event. You know, life takes a 360. So it's like someday you are completely walking and independent, and gradually the disease takes its toll and you become dependent on others. No, like sometimes it depends at the place where you are. Like I was doing my MBBS, so at that time I was more focused on my career. So then it's like certain priorities in your life keeps you pushing ahead and ahead. And then you have support. So there in the hostel I had support from my friends and my teachers used to like keep on supporting me. And even whenever there used to be a downfall or something or any emotional turmoil. So at that time, that support does help a lot. And then, of course, the support from family is always there. So all these things keeps you motivated yes, of course, like when you move out in the world, so it does happen that people start looking at your body image more than what you actually are. So that's true. So it's like even these days, if you go out somewhere in any restaurant or movie theater, so obviously they won't look at any other person, but they would turn around twice and look at you, how you are shifting or how you're doing things. So, but then the thing is like somehow it has always been in me, like I keep more focused on myself and not to like worry about what others are thinking. So that is why like I never stopped going out or something. But I know like I know many people who actually stop going out when they develop some disability or something. So I have encountered them, and even those people, like when they get to know about me, so even then they start taking steps to move out of their houses. Like I know, I when I was doing my post graduation, at that time I met a old lady, not very old, but like in 40s. So she had not moved out of her house for past 10 years when she developed this disability. And although she was such a high laureate, like education wise, like she was a PhD and everything. So then that motivated her also to move out. So I think it's on you how you take your disability and not to be limited by it, but to overcome it and not to care about others, like what others are thinking. So your self attitude and your own self motivation and then support from your near and dear ones keeps you like propelling ahead and ahead. So it does happen that even now when you move out or you are shifting,
The gaze culture.
yes, people will keep on looking at you and they will keep saying that we want to help and we want to help. But it's like you need to maintain your calm and you need to tell them that you don't need their help. And whenever you will need it, you will, of course, do ask.
Yeah. So you're saying that you're practicing MBBS. Like,
Like, yeah, when I developed this problem, this autoimmune disorder, at that time I was doing my MBBS. But then the career and all kept on moving, time kept on moving. And my disease was like a slow progressive kind of one. So it's like initially I had problem only in the legs and little bit walking problem. But later on, like I became a wheelchair user and gradually my hands also got involved. So then I became dependent on it.
how was your parents' reaction? Like,
So parents are like always like any parent, especially if you talk about Indian parents. So they of course they get affected a lot and they are always in that sort of denial mode for a very long time and it is very difficult for them to accept. Like in the early stages even they are not accepting and even they don't know how to go out in the society and to face others and especially with them. So even then, they also try to avoid the social gatherings and everything, like when they have to go with me. So, but then gradually, even they understand. So they are supporting, but they are supporting in terms like providing appropriate treatment and everything and catering to the needs. But it becomes difficult for them to understand like this situation can persist for a long time. So even now they like having a hope is good. So that hope in your parents' eyes also keeps you motivated. Maybe that someday some treatment will also something happen. So you can go back, like at least little bit independence can come to you. So I think that plays a role. And if I know people whose parents don't support them. So then those children, even if they try their best, if that issue is there with them, like they always feel that pain, to have that parental support. So it's like I'm lucky in that sense. But yes, it becomes very difficult for your family to accept. And even now, like after so many years of, say, almost about 10 years of this lived experience, even now, if I go to any other place where my relatives are there, they will always come up with some or other solution, like go to this Baba or this place or this Tirat. So it's like you need to be strong and you need to decide what is best for you. And you also need to tell them, like, keep it aside all these things, let's discuss but all other normal things also. So you need to get them to other topics. Otherwise, they will keep sticking on to this topic only. When will you become fine on all that?
That's irritating at the places.
Yeah, sometimes it does, but sometimes like after years, so they also get to know ki we should avoid talking these things.
But do they realize?
Some people do, some don't. It's like it's a mixture where you go. It's like a biryani. When you go to a relative's place, some people are very supportive to you, and they will always support you and understand you, and in fact make others also understand at what places they are wrong and what all can occur, and how to mainly focus on improving your quality of life at this point and not just keep lingering on to one fact that when I become all right, then this will happen, or this will happen, then this will happen. So you have to come above that and think more about quality of life. So it's like not losing hope, having that hope, but living in the present.
And how do you find religion in your life? Because as you said, uski baba ke paas jao, is baba ke paas jao.
Yeah. So religion does hold a good place. Like I think more than religion, it's your spirituality. So God obviously does provide that strength and faith. So so it's like any religion you talk about, it is one thing only. All will say one thing, but uh, you have to be strong. Like you need to decide whether you want to go to that place or not. And even if people say that going to that place helps them or something, I think it is more of like finding that inner peace. So at whatever place you find that inner peace. So just by having that inner peace would help you a lot.
In our religion, there is a myth or whatever you can say that if you have done bad thing in your past life, then you will become crippled or disabled. So it has always associated with the taboo, we can say.
Yes. So it's like more of like in Gita, it is said, "Karam ki chinta mat kar, aage badhte jao." So I think that keeps you motivated and pushing ahead.
You use a wheelchair.
Yes.
And I know how this space, whether institutional or public space, can be exclusionary.
Yes.
And we often say disability is socially constructed. And because you are also a assistant professor, like how do you find the space in your own institution?
So if you talk about my own institution, so at my own institution, I find the space is like good enough compared to other institutions. Like we have ramps, we have lifts also, and the washroom, like usually the accessible washroom that is there, it is usually attached to the washroom meant for male people. But here I got it, especially like the washroom for the females also got it accessible by increasing the door width and all. So in my institution, I don't find that much of a problem. But yes, like when I applied for the faculty flats here, so are not fully accessible. But yes, they are renovating that also to make it accessible.
So progress is happening, and
Yes.
like
But if you talk about other places, so like last year when I was searching for job and I went to other places, I went to DR Ambedkar or any other government, like both colleges of Delhi, government colleges. So there they do not have lifts.
yeah, this happened.
They do not have ramps. They have stairs. And they do not have any objection to that also. They also don't realize like how important it is. So even in the interviews, they say that the problem is mine, that I need such and such things. So if you talk about like models of disability now, so these colleges or these institutions, they are still following that medical model of disability. Whereas now we have progressed so much and we mainly talk about rights based model of disability. And even if we talk about social model of disability, even in that it is like the I only have an impairment, but the disability is being caused because of the barriers which either the people are creating because of their attitude or these institutions are creating, like in terms of physical barriers, not having lifts or ramps. So at other places, it is a very, very big issue. And even if you go to like any social place like PVR,
Yeah,
PVR is not accessible at all.
yeah.
Till now, I haven't been able to find any movie theater which is accessible. So it's like because of this, I'm not even able to go out to watch movies,
Yeah,
which I want to, because then you are forced to sit exactly in the front of the screen and it becomes very tiring to watch the movie from there. They do not have plans and they, so it's a bad situation for that place. And even in restaurants, now when I have to go out with my friends, it becomes very difficult because you need to search continuously on the website and
yeah.
Google which place is accessible or not.
No.
And then you need to call them, you need to confirm because sometimes it says accessible, it
But
says
yeah,
they have a lift, but when you go there, it's like in front of the lift you have so many stairs, or after you reach the lift, like when you reach the floor, then again you have stairs to come down to. So it becomes pointless. So it's like because of these inaccessibility which is there now,
yeah.
it becomes difficult and tough to find a good place.
Yesterday I went to Priya Complex and it is one of the posh uh, in the Munirka. And I was walking and I was just looking at all the restaurant and all the shops, and none of them have a single ramp. So it's very disappointing. It's not that costly as well. And there is also an influencer. His name is Pratik, and he's also like he also uses wheelchair, and he has started an NGO and where he's accessing these ramps at all these restaurant and all these places. So it's a good initiative, and we have to be resistant towards it, and we have to keep pushing it. So coming back to my next question, so how do students react when they first see you? For example, there's not that much people who teaches with a disability because they don't get opportunities, or they are like shut behind by their own parents, or even they also don't want because there's not that much facility. So how do you find?
It's like uh, when the students come for the first time. So yes, of course, when they will see me for the first time downstairs when I'm shifting from my car to the wheelchair or any other place apart from the lecture theatre, like unless we have met before. So when they see me for the first time, yes, of course, they think that even I am a patient
Yeah.
because this is a medical institution. So they think that some patient is going there or something. But yes, after the first interaction in the lecture theater or any other place, when they get to know that I am a professor here and I teach, so then of course they realize that, just being on wheelchair doesn't make you a patient. It's like you are a person first, you use wheelchair, that's a separate thing.
Yeah.
But your identity is separate.
Separate.
So my identity is that of a doctor.
Yeah.
So then they realize this, and yes, of course. In fact, some students become very friendly, and then they become more open to me. And if they have any problem or difficulty in their life, they are very happy to discuss that with me. So, and even in the lectures, when as soon as I enter, they automatically become like quiet and how you should behave. So I don't have to put my efforts into all that. So, and then they are keep listening. And if anyone wants to share anything later on or anything they want to discuss, they are always welcome. And some students become so attached that even after they pass out, like after pass out of their first year, even in the later years, they come to meet me. And if we meet somewhere by chance, even then, they are very like, even if I don't realize that after so many years that this was my student.
Yeah.
So, but then they always come and greet me. And, it does make you feel good.
Yeah. So we can say that you enjoy teaching, and
Yes.
it is one of our reason to like enjoy the life. So how do you find teaching? Like, what is the key role of that thing?
So, teaching does play a major role. So, if you talk like after I did my graduation, then I had to do post graduation. So, just like any other medical student, I wanted to do it in a clinical field.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
even I wanted to be a surgeon or a dermatologist.
Yeah.
Something. But then, because life had already made its plans, and even if I tried doing other things, it was not possible for me. Like, my health also would not allow to take so much of pressure because in clinical fields you always have to be on your toes and you have to manage OT and wards. So all that was not possible for me. So when I went to my parent college, like from where I did my MBBS, so there, like Subharati Medical College, Meerut. So there, when I met principal, so he said, like he explored all the options, we discussed everything, and then he made me realize like this is the best possible option for me. So, like any other medical student, even I was not that excited about it because I knew that in this branch I'll be mainly teaching and all. So, but then gradually I developed that interest in this field and I developed that passion for teaching. So, earlier during my school days, also, I used to teach my friends, like help them in homework and all, and even during graduation, but never thought of taking this as a profession. So now, but now when I teach, so I really teach with my heart. So like I enjoy it a lot, and it's another passion of mine to teach. So teaching does help you a lot. Teaching helps you grow because while you are teaching now, you are also learning from the students.
Yeah.
So those things always keep you motivated. And I teach them disability competencies also, where I teach them like what is a disability or what are the various models of disability or how to communicate or interact when they meet a person with disability, how to address them. So all these things are another part of my life. So teaching does help you grow more.
Yeah, nice. And last time when we met, I did tell you that I'm doing my dissertation on caregiving, and we did talk about the power structure of caregivers. So I want to discuss that thing again so that my listeners and viewers can get to know about the power structure, how it works in caregiving. So I wanted to ask you, like, what has your experience been like with caregivers, both within the families and the professional caregivers?
So within the family, it's like they take it as their responsibility because they know that they have to do it. Otherwise, who else will do it? So my mother has always been a constant caregiver throughout it. But now, like with the age, she requires certain help. So even my father does support, like in helping me in shifting from wheelchair to bed or something. So, but then again, the major part is done by my mother. But when you go out and look for a caregiver in the outside world, so there it's all materialistic and money minded. So it's like even if you find a caretaker now, so they are mainly interested in having those kind of people where they don't have to do much things. They mainly have to remain in the home. So when you talk to any agency or a care provider, so they are very shocked to know that such and such person has to go out. That you are a working woman. Yeah, that they have to, that you are a working woman and you are a doctor and you need to go out. So then they feel that such kind of persons should not work. Yeah. And they create that attitude. No? They have this attitude that how can you go out and work and so then it becomes very difficult to find a care provider because like recently my previous caretaker she was there for about 3 years but like although she was good but that greediness was always there in her so she used to do work she used to go out she started with some amount landed onto about 1,000 per day. Wow. But even then, she was having this greed. So ultimately, she left, and now for past 4 months, we have been searching for a caregiver, but we haven't been able to find one because either they are not willing to do so much work, they are not willing to go out with me. Then the majority of them had this issue. Ki we cannot do this work and that work even if you are willing to pay how much soever they demand, but you know that feeling of empathy that is missing in them, and they do not care about your dignity. Yeah. Agencies outrightly say that hire some male person because the females do not have the strength. So they don't think about your dignity, and they don't even think like daily when you are sending some other person another person how difficult it is for me to get my work done or anything. So yes, like that materialistic thing, money minded thing, lack of total empathy that is there in the external care providers. If we watch the representation of wheelchair user in films as well, we'll see that they're always surrounded in a home, they will not go out, they're in depression. Hrithik Roshan played a person with cerebral palsy. And it has also, like, when I was a kid or kid when I first saw the film, and I was totally emotional, this and that. But when I revisit the thing and see it again, yeah, that will. So, like in that movie, was demanding euthanasia. So at that time when you watch the movie, yeah. At that time even I was any other able-bodied person only. So I felt very emotional and I also felt that why is everyone denying his part and all that thing. But now when I watch that movie, so I feel he has like, although he was such a good magician and he has been shown at such a low state of mind and how it could have impacted the people who were actually going through that state.
Yeah.
And like, you know, when you watch that movie in this stage, so how their parents could have been persuaded
Yeah.
to demand for such a thing for their child. So, you know, yes, in media, it is being portrayed very badly. There is like just recently one good movie, Shrikant was there.
Yeah, yeah.
So, which was showing some strength of
Yeah.
power in that person. Otherwise, in every kind of OTT platform, any person with disability has always been shown at a lower side, either surrounded by people or begging on the streets, or like they don't show them as an independent and a strong person.
So, like, how do you feel about this disabilities portrayed by this media?
So I think it's bad. I think they should ask the people who actually have that lived experience, and then they should make up their mind how to portray it. So just by showing them at a weaker side will also badly influence people who are in the low socioeconomic strata, because there they do not have this much opportunity, and when they will show them at like in this stage, so if they have a child with disability, they won't even think about how they can improve that person's life. But if they will, like, if the media, which has such a big outreach and so many people watch it, if they will show them at a good strength and power, then if a person with disability, a child with disability, is there at any other place, in any kind of family, those members will be motivated to educate that child and to strengthen that child.
Yeah. And have you watched Margaret with a Straw?
Yes,
How did you find it?
I think it was good. Like some factors which are neglected and which are thought about, oh, how can she do it, or how can you do it? Those things will be overcome.
Because the moment it starts, like they will show you how the accessibility plays an important role,
Yes.
and also the
Like how even she can have emotions, like romantic emotions.
emotions.
So even that is important. I think it's like again they only see our identity as a disability.
Yeah.
They don't see us as an individual.
Yeah.
So as in any kind of individual, we also have all those feelings, we also have all those emotions. So even we have the right to express them and to live with them.
But do you find it odd when the role is played by a able-bodied person?
Yeah, that's true. Like recently there was some movie on Amazon or somewhere where actually a person with lived experience played a role with cerebral palsy, and yeah, so that was good. So I think although you are an actor, but you cannot enact each and everything.
Yeah, like
So
experience matters.
lived experience does matter, and it will be good that if you actually portray that person himself or herself.
Yeah.
So that's true.
Yeah, that's why like we need inclusivity in every platform and the so coming back to the physical barrier, disability has also this disparity among economic, gender, class-based, caste-based. So what do you think these intersections impact disabled people's access to care, education, and dignity?
It does impact a lot, like education, yes. The schools usually are not accessible. There are very few schools which are fully accessible. Then education, so that ways education gets affected. So it's a cycle. So you are not providing care. The parents are not, like, they have this hesitancy in them, so they're not sending their child out. Then if the child goes out, then he or she doesn't get those friends. Friends are making fun, peers are making fun. And then in school, you have all the problems. School is not accessible, you are forced to go to a special school. So it's like a cycle. So once you start facing that barrier at your home, if you overcome that, you face it in the outside world. You don't get proper education, you don't get proper work, you don't get proper employment, you do not have the finance, and later on also you're not able to improve your quality of life. So it's like at every stage and every level, you have to face hurdles. So at any point, if the cycle can be cut and can be stopped, it will surely help them overcome it.
I have visited government schools for disabled people, and there also there's not any accessible with people with wheelchair and for visually impaired people. So this economy also plays a very major factor.
Like me being at this stage. So one thing is when you talk about it, you share your experience, that will surely break their attitudinal barrier. But in terms of economy, if you talk about, so either it's like you yourself contribute something from your salary, like you make your mind that you contribute yearly so and so to this agency or this NGO. But apart from that, you can bring about reforms in the government, and you can tell them, like you can persuade them to increase the amount of expenditure they spend to improve the life of persons with disability, and not just talk about physical accessibility in the buildings or the heritage places, but also about the education and the employment.
So what do you think about the government and its role in the life of disabled people?
So government does play a major role, like in any person's life, in India especially. So I think at other places also. But like if the government brings about reform, so like government does bring about things like they will change the title or something.
Yeah.
Yes. But that's like it's like they never consulted us. So I think we could have suggested something better.
Yeah.
Because Divyang is like having that divine powers, which we do not have. So government is not wrong, they want to do, but they're not consulting us. So it's like nothing about us without us. So they should involve us in the policy making and then bring about the changes. So even if the government wants to do it and they are trying to do it, but they are not consulting us, that is why it is backfiring.
Yeah, so it seemed like Gandhi calling Dalits as Harijan, but still practicing and want casteism in the Hinduism. So yeah, like you're just changing the name and like trying to make it aesthetic, but there is no improvement, there is no empathy towards people with disability. And also I did go through the manifesto of our respected government, and even there also they have kind of left out us. If they are not adding disability in their manifesto, then how can we expect them to work for us? So we need to talk about it. We need to admit it.
Till they won't consider us as an important vote bank.
Yeah, majority.
Till then they won't consider about us in the policy reforms. So they need to realize that even we are a very important part of this institution, and how much we contribute to India and nation. So how much we think about it. So and how much we represent India at other platforms. So if we are pride and we have that proud feeling of being an Indian, So I think even government should think more about us, should involve us in those decision-making process so that we can improve, they can also improve.
Yeah. So I've just only two questions. Yeah. So you are now in a position of influence as an assistant professor.
Yes.
And what do you think university can do, or what have you done able to do to make this campus, more inclusive and accessible?
So we do have an enabling unit where we hold meetings so that we can discuss about like what the problems are or what students with disabilities are facing. So then we do write letters and we do write request for things like recently the enabling unit of UCMS got a golf cart so that students with disabilities do not face problem while coming from the hostel to the college. So that was a good initiative by the enabling unit of my college. So that ways we can always think about various things after having a good discussion with the students and other members and other faculty there. So discussing about their requirements and their needs, then we can bring about changes.
So thank you so much, Dr. Nonita. And before we end this podcast, I would love to know what keeps you going on every day, and what will be the message you want to give to the people with disability who are still struggling, who still have a problem with accepting themselves. Because that was yeah, I'm talking for personal and lived experience. Because I was only 17, I've been hearing that okay, you're a bad person, you have done something bad in your past life. That's where you like this happened with you. So this society play a very major role to shape your mind. So please give a like message to our people. Our
So the message is only that you need to think more about how you can improve your quality of life. Be it like if you have to bring about change in your education, your employment, your surroundings, and your friends. You need to bring that change. If you feel your friends are discouraging you need to change them. They are not your friends. You need to, you need to search for good people, good surroundings. Maybe you need to talk more to other people with disability who have this level experience so that you yourself can become motivated. So it's like you need to have your own inner strength, your your own motivation, and the love for yourself. If you love yourself, only then you can, you know, push yourself ahead. So you need to constantly love yourself.
yeah,
So that is most important. Then only you can spread all the awareness and the caring nature and everything in yourself.
thank you. It was such an enriching discussion with you. And so sorry for being so late. And I think you have a class, Abhi. And thank you so much, listeners and viewers. This is for today. I'm your host, Trilochan, aka Smile.